Welcome back, YouTube. So, today's video, we're going to talk about September being a really good month overall, and it's not just for crypto. Obviously, this is going to transpire across a few different industries, but I believe that September is a great month overall for the actual coin and getting into these positions here and really being able to kind of get like a overall view of where the market is going and where we are now in the cycle. I wanted to point out a few things here on the chart as far as for where we've been over the last few days and really over the past, I'd say, month or so. Because a lot of times people say that, oh, okay, well, the coin's tanking or the coin's the bull runs over, all this kind of good stuff. But really what's happening right now is we're going sideways and we are getting the liquidity from the zone, from an already established zone. So it's not like Doge is searching for liquidity or there's a question mark as far as to where that liquidity is going to come from. It's doing what it has done for since roughly around July. We've had some runs and some potential breakouts here, but overall, this roughly where we are now, this 0.956 mark is where we've established as a popular liquidity zone. Anything below that, we typically get a lot of liquidity coming into the coin, and we bounce up and consolidate at or very close to it. And we have an early example here back on July 5th. Let's go back. Whoops. Let me adjust that here. So we'll do it from the top. And let's see. So we'll see that when we had this initial push down, let's say going back here to February, right? And we had this, this was like day 2, day 3 of this run up when we had this early breakout at the beginning of the year. This zone established itself because this was, when you see the wick here, this is where the push, well, ultimately, obviously, we closed upward, but this is where the push down started, right? So we closed the day before roughly at around 10 cents, and we saw that we historically have some issues with roughly around 10 cents. So whenever we were below 10 cents, we expected there to be somewhere between 10 and 12. For those of you that have been here since 2020, 2021, these are some of the important areas that we always charted, because when we get ready to go into double digits, there's always some short spiking, news, something going on here to kind of get some momentum going back the other way. But we were able to grab some liquidity here very quickly, a little the next day at around 949, and we haven't looked back, right? And this has been since February 28th, literally the last day of February. And that has been the story pretty much the entire year. This has been a very important zone for us. This has been a very strong point, I'll say, for where we can actually kind of, I won't say bake on it, but actually get some, I'm going to adjust the lines here in a moment, but this is a very strong point here where we can actually get some really great deals here on the asset for those of us that are long-term. Now, September is historically, we have a quadruple witching, a lot of things, a lot of trade-offs are going to happen, futures, options, all these things here are going to go through their switch in a few weeks. But historically, across the markets, this is a bad month, right? This is a sell-off month. This is a month where a lot of trading happens, and it's a red month, right? So in the beauty of that is, and the reason I titled the video is, the best month is because you don't want to position yourselves doing green candles. You want to position yourself doing red candles. So for those of you that are looking for the hoorah before the election going into next year, for those of you that are looking at the cycles and saying, okay, well, historically, we'll start that ascend. If we're getting back to more of a historic charting range, we'll start that ascend somewhere around like November, December, and we'll peak somewhere around March 2025, getting back to a more historical trend. So when you start asking yourself questions of saying, okay, where are we going to position ourselves for that run? If we believe this is going to happen around that time, what are the best entry points leading up to that? And these are things that I look for when I'm looking at as far as historical patterns. Where are we consistently getting the rejections from? Where are we consistently seeing the liquidity come in at? All right, and this is something that's been very truthful for us thus far. I want to take a look here at Bitcoin as well. Oh, this is not the chart I wanted. I'll zoom out, but we'll see that when we talk about like the ups and downs, we'll see a very similar pattern here, because sometimes people like to isolate the Dogecoin if that's particularly their main holding. People like to isolate that coin, but you'll see here that a very similar pattern with Bitcoin, right? We pretty much we're in the top zone here of Fibonacci, but obviously this is, I don't care what anyone says. Yes, there's some volatility up and down, all that kind of good stuff on some of the micro. But if you're looking at roughly, I'd say early March until now, we are going sideways inside of the zone. We're going sideways. So this isn't obviously there's pools of liquidity in here, support and resistance, all that kind of good supply and demand, whatever you want to call it. These all exist inside this zone, but overall we are trending sideways. And same thing with Doge around that 95.6 cent mark. We are, the closer you are to 55,000, that has proven to be the best bet thus far in this cycle. And that has holding true. As you even here, you see the week went down to around 55,000. And what's happening? We have a very strong rejection here, and to the point where we're green now, but we're back up over 57,000. That isn't news, because this has happened X amount of times thus far in this cycle. So you have to kind of just, if you're looking at the numbers here, this is kind of what I want people to do for Doge. If you're looking at the numbers here, they've made it, we've been here so long, it's made it apparent where the pools of liquidity are, right? And that's to mention that, and some people are going to say, okay, well, if September is a bad month, does that mean that we can go lower? Does that mean that we can possibly test those pools of liquidity and break through them to the downside? That is a possibility in September. We could, because we haven't even seen, I want to say we haven't seen the blood yet, but it has the potential to get bloodier. And this isn't just crypto. This is the markets overall. Remember, we're having this big swap going on, but it typically rebounds. November is typically a really good month. But this month typically is where, if you are optimistic about the future, this is the month that you kind of want to make these important decisions about where I want to get in. And because you're going to be able to, I'll put it like this: September is Black Friday shopping for the market, right? So this is where you're going to want to consider those things here and getting into those pools of liquidity. So even if you, let's say you buy here for Bitcoin or Doge at the 956 cents mark, and it does dip lower, you didn't get a bad deal. And this is another thing psychologically you have to kind of deal with, is people say, okay, I want the best deal. And then if it consolidates higher, you can say, oh, I should have bought more here. But if it goes lower, you'll say, oh, I should have waited. Just consider, if you are optimistic and believe we have peak bull run coming Q1 of 2025, then you are getting ultimately a deal for where you believe the asset is ultimately going, right? And that's the benefit of it, and that's the pocket that you want to be in to turn a profit, is not buying the green candle. So even if it does have a slight dip or whatnot afterward, that's not, in the macro sense of things, that's not a big deal, because you are still getting something on sale that you believe is going to appreciate. So just kind of keep that in mind if you are looking at those fundamentals here, based off of the charts that we're seeing, and historically, since we're getting more to an historic pattern here for crypto, that we are setting ourselves up, and that the historic time frame for those bull runs is going to be later in this year, possibly more than likely Q1, because historically that's where we'll have that at. Typically we'll peak around somewhere around like March. But if you are positioning yourselves now, you want to take advantage of these dips, of these red times in the market, because they're going to provide those opportunities for you to, for those of you that are already in the coins, they're going to provide the opportunity, obviously, for increased coin count, or to make entries for those of you that have sold. I know some have panic sold, or sold out of frustration, all that kind of good stuff. These are the things that you kind of want to pay attention to, especially for those of you that are sitting on the sidelines. We are 4 days until September. Obviously, there's no rush. And in my opinion, honestly, I would wait and possibly another few weeks or so before making any of those decisions, because like I said, the potential for further red is certainly present in the market. So, but I do believe ultimately for Doge and entries and setting yourselves up, because your profit is technically secured when you buy, not when you sell. When you sell, obviously that is not indicative of the spread, right? And what you're looking for is the spread here. I'm looking to buy at a great deal so that it doesn't matter so much where I sell for something that's going to appreciate, versus buying a green candle or buying at the top or something like that and needing some astronomical number late in the cycle. So just kind of think about that. And when you're looking at these entries, I'm going to provide some more updates here as we go through this month. I think this is going to be a very important month for the cycle. This is one of the things that I was saying in my last video, was that we're kind of going to wait and let the market play out. I believe that there is some value to be added right now in this month. So you're going to see some more videos here. But I never want to make videos that I believe are like redundant or don't provide value. But I believe that there's going to be a lot of things to talk about this month. So just kind of for those of you that have your notifications on, just kind of stay tuned here. We're going to have a lot of important discussions this month as we go through and get ready to go into this final leg here of the cycle. So with that being said, please consider subscribing to the channel if you have not. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I appreciate all of you, and I will see you guys in the next video.